Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I know this has been a very long time coming, but I had some time away, and I'm gonna spend about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, doing this, and this is my attempt to let you know why I personally stopped watching the Arrowverse series, all of them, even Black Lightning. And I love Black Lightning. I'm not gonna watch any of it due to the fact of it's too heavily SJW'd, and these are the and I already gave you what I would do for Arrow, what I would do for the Flash. Now I'm gonna do one for Supergirl, and I really like the Kara Danvers character. I really like the whole Kara Zor-El that becomes Kara Danvers, and I really, really, really wish that this show took a much um bigger step for the character. And what they did is they really cartooned her down, and then when they tried to make her serious, it was already too late because people already made their preconceptions of the character. They basically in a way decided that the show was not CBS, and CBS is designed to try to bring in the young folks, and they try to do the whole like Big Bang Theory and such like that, when they should never have done that. They should have just kept it closer to the comics, but gave it a little bit more breath of fresh air. And the some of the problems they had on the show was there was no intensity to the show. There was no true intensity to the show. You felt that she always had everything wrapped up in one episode, and they made it feel like a sitcom. She also felt she did not feel real. She did not feel like a real person. A woman, and she's a woman at her own age. She's supposed to be like in her early 20s in a metropolitan world, and she's in a high business environment, and she's acting like she's 12. That is so disingenuous to young women of her age, and also the type of young people that are going to be going into in those type of environments, that you're supposed to just take life as whatever and that's it. No, it's a high business world. That's why the Cat Grant character was so well received, and it sucked that they couldn't use her very often because, well, the actress was living in she lives in Los Angeles, and they took it all the way up to Toronto, Canada, so it kind of sucked. But they brought her back for a little bit, and they made her character disappear. So I'm going to give you what I would do to give a much better storyline for first season of Supergirl. And I would keep the actress. She's beautiful. Look at her. She's gorgeous. She actually resumes the characteristics of Kara Zor-El. She's very beautiful. She has a very girl next door look. That's the original concept of Kara Zor-El. She's a girl next door, and she's not geeky. She actually is, in a way, she's a city girl. That's what she is. She's a city girl, because where she lived in Candor was she lived in a way she lived in the Upper West Side, but she wasn't dumb. She was very, very intelligent, and she also understood who she was, and she understood her family legacy. So when Kal-El was sent away, she was supposed to be to protect him until it was time for him to start his destiny to rebuild Krypton on Earth. That was Jor-El's whole plan, and that was Zor-El's plan, her father's plan, to have her with him so she can guide him in a way that was needed. Now, how would I have done this? The first thing I would have done was introduce the fact of who this character is. Give about I would say a 10-minute. I would have spent almost the whole episode focusing on who she is on Kandor, because the biggest thing is that the biggest misconception about Supergirl, and they did this in the comics for a little bit, is that the moment she got to Earth, she adopted and became a full Earthling. Like she acted like an Earthling, she acted like a human, and this and that. And I go, and to me, that's not who she is. That's not who she is. She's supposed Kara Zor-El was raised on Krypton. She was raised in Kandor, and Kandor is supposed to be the capital of Krypton. It was one of the oldest cities of Krypton. Now, however you want to misconception it, however you want to twist it and turn it, that's fine. But you cannot change who she is. She is egotistical in certain ways. She left the planet when she was 16 years old. She didn't leave when she was 12. I would have made it where she was 16 years, she was 12, she was 16 years old, and she was fully grown. She was not like a 20-year-old she was not a 20-year-old woman. She was actually a 16-year-old girl, and when she left Kandor, she already knew who she was. She just needed a little bit more experience, and that'd have been it. She'd been ready to go into whatever type of field that was needed for her. I would have introduced the fact that she wanted to be a scientist, just like her dad and just like her uncle Jor-El. She wanted to be a scientist. She's very, very smart, very smart. You could say her whole what she knows is, let's say, biogenetics. I'll say it's biogenetics and xenobiology, which means that she knows about extraterrestrial planets. So she goes to another planet, she can understand how to be able to survive on that planet. One, it makes sense for her character, and two, it shows how much of a genius she truly is. She doesn't need like someone like Wynn to make her freaking suit. She should already knew how to make her own damn suit. Two, she doesn't need to have a gigantic like, she doesn't need the government to help her defend the planet. She could do it herself. She's not dumb. She understands her powers far better than even Kal-El does, but she doesn't understand the genetics because she doesn't have as much of the experience, but she does know xenobiology because she went to different planets with her mother and father. Let's say that. But she doesn't know biogenetics as much as most Earthlings, due to the fact that you have people who have more experience. She has the raw intelligence because of her time on Krypton. Her mother was a bioengineer. Her father was a quantum theorist. So you could say, but Jor-El was was a professor of almost all things. So her father was very, very intelligent, and also you can say her father was the one that helped Jor-El create the Phantom Zone. There's a lot of things they could have done in the first season, in the first 10 minutes, to give you so much information of who she is, where she comes from, her family legacy, her father, her mother, her uncle, her aunt, and also you could say that within the first, before the month, like I would say, the month of the destruction of Krypton, Kal-El was born, and he was only like a month old, and she met him. She met Kal-El, and she held him and everything else, and Kal-El was a baby, and then that's when Jor-El gets the notion that the planet is going to be destroyed. Her father does his measures, and she says, well, what are we gonna do? And he says, well, he goes, I know what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get you onto a ship, and we're gonna have it. And basically, the moment Jor-El sends Kal-El away, you're gonna go with him, and we'll follow you. He basically lied to Kara, and that starts a little bit of the abandonment issue she has. She has it with Kal-El a little bit, but she has it mostly with her parents, and also she did get. Did get adopted by the Danvers, okay, and you introduce her sister. And I'll get into Alex really soon, but you want to establish who she is. She has a little bit of an authority problem, and on top of that, she feels that she is egotistical, and that's fine to have. As a hero, you have to be, in a way, egotistical. You have to look at it as, This is my problem. I have to handle this myself. That doesn't mean that she's not willing to work with other people, but in certain situations, she wants to be able to handle it herself. And I rather for her to be like that than her just submitting herself to having everybody do everything with her and have this massive team around her, which will in a way weaken her because if something ever happens to her team, how is she as a character going to be able to handle the situation and be part of the super family? Listen, one of the greatest things about Superman is that no matter what, his family, what Jonathan and Martha taught Clark was, you need to stand on your own 2 feet, but if people are willing to help, let them help. There is nothing wrong in submitting to help. But you also have to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. That's being a person, that's being an adult, and that's being, in his instance, a man. And that's also the type of quality you want to show to young girls, that you don't have to be subservient to other people just because you got to get the job done. Sometimes you have to do it yourself. You have to stand on your own 2 feet and do things yourself. That was the problem they had with Supergirl. They had her fight consistently all the time with other people instead of saying, hey, you know what, maybe I can let them help me. She put the world on her shoulders. She put the city on her shoulders, which makes absolutely no sense. There's no reason for her to actually do that all the time. And also she had the DEO to help her. Now I'm not saying that, and it's not contradicting what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is she should have had her cake and eat it too. Like, hey, there's this big enemy. I might not be able to help with it. Maybe the DEO can. Go to them, ask them for help. If they decide to help, okay, great. And then kind of say, hey, you know what, thanks for the help, but I want to be able to handle this myself. There's a lot of times they should have given her enemies that she should have been able to handle herself. They had her at one point, they misconstrued her powers. They made her powers flaunt her all over the place. She's extraordinarily powerful. She's as powerful as Clark, but not more powerful in certain instances. And they made her very like she always had the answer. She always had an answer for everything. And it's like, what the heck is going on here? You at one point was this way, but all of a sudden now you flip the switch and now you're back to this. It just made her character too flip-floppy. They should have had her with anger issues. She should have had anger issues from the very beginning of the whole freaking series. She should have had anger issues, and the biggest thing is that the fact of that Clark wouldn't even allow her to go to the Fortress of Solitude. Now you could have put in an episode where she even asked him, "Why won't you take me to the Fortress of Solitude? I know you have it." He goes, and he explains why. You can make whatever reason up. I would rather for him to say, well, my dad always told me to until I knew everything was safe. And even though you're my blood, I got to know the absolute truth. You could be angry about it. I'm very sorry for that, but I got to be safe with my father's technology and the legacy of Krypton. And she goes, well, I am also from Krypton. What's going on with that? He goes, well, Lex. And he explains, it's Lex. He doesn't want her to be the weak link that allows Lex to get inside the Fortress of Solitude ever again. And you could do a whole thing about that. And she kind of goes, oh. Like, he doesn't want to risk all the technology of Krypton to fall into the wrong hands, and it's not because of her. It's the fact is she doesn't want her to be the weak link that allows it to ever happen. That's why he's very hesitant about letting people near the freaking Fortress of Solitude. He said the only person that ever found it was the dude in Gotham. That was it. That's the only person that ever found it. Other than that, no one else been able to find it other than Lex and Batman. So it shows that he's being her cousin, but he's also being loyal to what his father told him. He goes, listen, I love your cousin, but that's your cousin. This is me telling you I don't want her in here until you tell me that it's okay and I can believe you. And that's more of him going, oh, okay. And it shows that he's kind of hesitant too. And it's also because of her anger issues. Her massive anger issues. She's not getting over the fact that her father only lied to her because he didn't want her to be that she wouldn't leave. Like, she would just stay on Krypton and fight them until the very end, and then she would die in the process. That was the whole point of why he lied to her. Said, no, get in the ship, and we'll follow very, very soon. And when she flew off, but by the time she got into the outer atmosphere, she realized, hey, wait a minute, no other ships are flying out. What the hell? And she can't turn anything off because everything is all solid out, and it's all trajectoried off of Kal-El's ship. And then you can say that at 16, she flew into a black hole. No, they did what Andromeda did. She got on the event horizon of a black hole and stayed in suspended animation for over 30 years. And then something happened, and it knocked her out of course, and she flew out of it. And she flew out of the black hole. She flew off of the event horizon and started her trajectory back to Earth. Which made Kal-El, because something happened within the Fortress of Solitude that showed that it created a beacon, and the ship's beacon followed all the way to Earth because that was its original trajectory. That was the original flight path. So she lands on Earth. Kal-El finds her. She says, "Who the heck are you?" He goes, and he goes, "You're Kara," and she goes, "Who the heck are you?" And he goes, "My name is Kal-El." And she freaking loses her nuts. She loses her mind. She loses her mind, and she goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. What the heck happened?" The ship tells her that, "Oh yeah, we got close to an event horizon." She was like, "Are you kidding me? I lost that many years?" And it goes back to what happened in Smallville. That version of Kara said there's nothing she could do for Kal-El. He's already a grown man, already knows about his powers and everything else. There's nothing she could never do. So for her, she has to actually live amongst these humans, and he brought her before the Danvers, and the Danvers treated her like any other person, treated her very, very nicely. She had some growing pains with him, but it wasn't bad. She likes him, but she never truly saw him as family. She saw Alex as a best friend, but not her true sister. And that shows that her character growth. We're not saying that that's going to be her character for the rest of the series. We're just saying that at this present point in time, she never saw the Danvers as her family. She never saw Alex as her family. She saw her as a best friend, just a true best friend. That's it. She never saw the mother and father of the Danvers as her mom and dad. Her mom and dad died on Krypton, and she's angry about it. And she hid her anger very well. And she told Alex her anger. And it made it feel better. But there's things that happen that brings out that anger in her, and she gets more and more frustrated. And also, for a few of the episodes, she does a lot of muck-up work. And like I liked how she came in, saved the bus, and flew away. And they're like, dude, what the heck? You didn't have to do all that. And she comes in, stops the criminals, and then she does a photo op and says a hi and bye, and she flies away. It's like, wait a minute, what the heck? Didn't you ask the cops for help or anything? Did they need help? It's one of those things of, those are the questions that even a lot of us asked, why doesn't Superman do that? Why doesn't he just fly in and say, hey, do you need my help? And they go, hey, we don't need your help. We don't need your help. Go away. Okay, she'll just stand back and just watch. But then when it gets really bad, she goes, nah, I can't do this. And flies in, takes care of the situation, which is what Superman would do. And then she gets blasted for it, and it starts a lot of the negative PR. She gets frustrated over it, which is right. I'd rather for her to get frustrated over it than her saying, I don't know why these people don't like me. It's not about them not liking you. It's the fact is, you need to find a way of being able to make yourself personable to these people, to a lot of the people in National City, so they go, oh, you're just trying to be a hero. You're trying to do the right thing. Which is the same arguments that we all made for Clark in Man of Steel. In Batman v Superman. Maybe she's just doing the right thing because she feels it is the right thing to do with her powers. Maybe she wants to be like her cousin. This and this and this and this. Now, and again, there's a lot of small things you could do. Her time at Catco, I would have made her a lot different when it came to her stuff in Catco. I never would have made her the bumbling secretary. That is so disingenuous. I would have made her quiet. Just quiet. She just does her job and moves on. But Cat sees something in her, like she sees something in her, like she sees like Clark, like. maybe you could be a great reporter. You get the job done. Have you ever thought about that? And she goes, nah, I've never really thought of reporting. She goes, really? I think you'd be a great reporter. Why don't you give it a shot? And she goes, okay. He goes, hey, how about you go over here and check this out? She goes, okay. So she goes to this event, and they introduce her to the whole season enemy, and it should have been Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord takes over all of Lex Co's business dealings and business holdings. It takes over the whole thing of Lex's company, and it basically becomes one of the biggest conglomerates in the world. You could have made him the biggest enemy for her to deal with. And he knows that she has the same powers. He knows she has the same powers as Superman. He's just trying to figure out how he can get past her mentality, because her mentality is way different than Superman's. There's something stronger about her mentality, and he doesn't know how to do it. So he finds out more about her, and when she reveals about her Kryptonian heritage and this and that, he goes into that a little bit more and realizes that through Lex, he finds out that there's a strong mentality when it comes to Kryptonians, because it's how they learn how to develop their powers. It's how they can keep their eyes from not flying out eye beams, or when they try to breathe out, it doesn't create a snowstorm, or basically she doesn't like open up a door and all of a sudden it breaks the door off or stuff like that. There's a mentality they have to keep their powers massively in check. He figures out a way to subtly break it, and it slowly unravel that. And also it gets her more and more frustrated, and it brings out more of her dormant anger about what happened with her family and what happened with Clark, her anger towards Clark, that he's not inviting her over to his house, or she has never really met Lois. She wasn't there for their wedding or for their anniversary. He kind of just kept that life separate. It just and it's more in the fact of Clark. You can also make Superman a jerk. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying to make him a bad guy, just make him a little bit of a jerk. Like, why aren't Mom and Pa Kent should have taught you a little bit better than this. Why aren't you bringing her into the fold? She wants to be family. She wants to be around you. But his whole thing is she needs to find a path for herself, not the path of you're Clark Kent's cousin, you're Superman's cousin. You need to figure out your own personal life. And by her being Supergirl, she starts to understand that. And it actually, at the very end of the season, when she finds out that Maxwell Lord's been the one that's doing all of this, it shows to her that, wow, Clark's right. By him attacking me, he's getting to him, and he could get to Superman. That's been his whole plot this whole time, is to get to Superman. Get Superman, ruin his reputation, and that will ruin Supergirl's reputation. And they have this, and then Superman and Supergirl have this big fight at the end of the season, and she basically gets thwomped. I mean, completely dismantled by Superman. He is so much more powerful. She's like, oh my God, I can't take him. And when Superman, when the whole, and you could have done the thing where she defeats him. She defeats him only because his mind was taken over, and that's what starts it. That's what starts her becoming Supergirl, because she starts to realize that at one point or another, she needs to figure out her life for herself. She can't live in his shadow. And from the very beginning, she was like, so how does it feel to be Superman's cousin? And she kind of goes, well, he is a great guy, and I wish we were kind of close, but he's still one of the greatest heroes of all time. And then that's it. And they're going, well, so Supergirl is, and they kind of misconstrue what she's saying over the fact is that she thinks that Superman is a better hero than her, and this and that, and then it's like, what the hell? Again, it's a lot of storytelling that makes you realize, sorry about that. It makes you realize that that Supergirl needs to be a hero in her own right. That's how I would do the first season of Supergirl. All you need to do is establish who she is, where she is in the first season of her career. She's still green as grass. The Jimmy character that you introduce, I would never introduce Jimmy. Never introduce Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen should be like season 3 or 4. That basically he leaves he leaves Metropolis to come to National City, only to the fact is that Cat Grant gave him a hint that she has a job waiting for him. And also, he kind of realizes that he can't be a reporting photographer anymore. He can't be a photojournalist anymore. He needs to be he can't be that type of photographer anymore. He has to be a photojournalist. He has to go to the places, get the photos, do the journalism, and then write the piece. He has to do something like that. And that's how I would have done his character from the very beginning. Also, the relationship between Kara and Jimmy should have just been friendship. There should have been little to no romance between the two of them. Like, there is something there, but she kind of goes, no, she doesn't want to mess up this friendship. She just wants a friendship. She just wants a friendship with somebody. She doesn't want to be with anybody right now. She feels that she's young, and she still wants to be young in her career. Throwing her in a whole bunch of relationships is absolutely screwed up the whole show for me, because she's sitting there freaking pining over a character that makes absolutely no sense. The situation makes absolutely no sense, and it's like, well, you expected this was going to happen, so what's the problem here? I'm sick and tired of it. So get her to be happy about the fact she sees Supergirl. Get her to get that smile that you see right there. That's the smile I want to see on her almost all the time. She loves being a hero. She doesn't want to be in her cousin's shadow anymore. She wants to grow her own. She wants to grow her own character, and she wants to just be a hero and still have her own life. I would have also had Cat Grant's character be that character that kind of pushes her to open up, to do this and do this, and it gets her to be that girl next door we remember for her in the first episode with her in Krypton. Because she was that girl that, like how she is on this show, present day, where she likes to have fun with her friends and that's how she was. That's how she is on Krypton. But remember, she's on planet Earth. These humans are weak, and two, the technology is crap. That's why she's quiet, because it's like she has to deal with a cell phone. This technology is crap. She's used to having a VR in front of her. She's used to having a video recorder in front of her of a person right in front of her. She's not used to talking to someone from distances like that. They had flying cars, not petrol-oiled cars. Cars on wheels. What the hell? And then on top of that, she could fly. You can have in the later, especially in the season, how she learned how to use her powers. It's not Superman that teaches her how to use her powers. It's the Danvers. And that's fun. It shows a lot of the trial and errors and such like that. Like, you're getting the growth of her character, how to use her powers. But at the very end of the season, she's finally realizing that her cousin was right. That every person is going to be using her to get to him. Because he is the prominent hero. He is Superman. And she is Supergirl, so they're going to use her to get to him. So she has to be able to stand on her own 2 feet and be that hero that's not going to rely on her cousin all the time. And that's how she was throughout the most of the season. She's always trying to figure out, like, where's Cal? Why can't Cal help me out? Okay, fine. I'll just do it myself. She gets angry. You get introduced to DEO. I would have introduced to DEO as her antagonist in season 2. People that are trying to stop her. You introduce John. You use John Johns. He's a detective, and he's researching her to find out, is she like Zod? That's the main thing in season 2. Like, is she like Zod? That's what he's introduced. That's what he's trying to figure out. She finds out about John Johns, looks into him while he's looking into her. They meet up, and she's sitting there saying, who are you? Why are you following me? And that's all of season 2. And most of the other stuff in season 2 is the introduction to Metallo, and also the reintroduction of Metallo, the reintroduction of Parasite, and also the main season is about, again, Maxwell Lord. It's Maxwell Lord, but he knows that she has anger issues because he's seen what she's capable of, that she has that killer instinct to kill somebody, and guess what he does? He propels Metallo to be that sacrificial lamb. and she kills Metallo. She truly kills Metallo. She kills him. Point blank. But it's misconstrued into the fact that she saves somebody's life to kill Metallo. And also it puts up this whole thing like, is she a threat? That should have been season 2. Like it should have been about, is she truly a danger to people, or is she the right person? Or is she, was this a lie? And that's where John Jones comes in. John Johns. He comes in to find out what the heck is going on. And then towards the end of season 2, she realizes there's something different. There's something peculiar about John Johns. And we all know who it is. It's because he's the Martian Manhunter. The only person that knows is Superman. But John is not telling Clark anything because he doesn't. In a way, he feels that Clark is not doing his job to be the prominent hero to allow aliens to be recognized. He's keeping himself hidden. And he gets it from Kara that now he understands why. Like I said, season 2 should be a little bit darker, but it should be more intense and gives you a much deeper story. Season 3 should be almost fluff because it's her having fun, and also it's about Toyman. You introduce Toyman and Mr. Mitzi Spitlick. And it's her first introduction to the Flash. And she meets Grant Gustin's Flash. That should have been season 3. Her having fun. It's a fun season. It's all about Toyman, who's the main villain, because she defeated Maxwell Lord, and Maxwell Lord got exposed and got thrown into the same jail. But then he gets taken out of jail and put into a new type of prison. He gets put into a new prison, into Belle Rev prison, and that's when he gets introduced to Amanda Waller of that universe, who's creating a group of people to take down Superman. That's their purpose, to take down Superman. He's too powerful. So season 3 is all about the fun factor, because season 4 is going to be all dark. It's going to be dark. Very dark. Very disturbing. Because Mitzi Spitlick is trying to tell her that things are going to get worse for her. Worse for her. Because she's not doing her due diligence to get her cousin prepared. And season 4 should be basically, guess what? Superman loses his powers. Loses them all. He's a regular Joe. So now she's the hero of the world. She's the super person of the world now. Clark loses his powers. And now he has to live with it. Now we get a little bit more of Clark. Not Superman, but Clark Kent. And he starts to realize that he messed up with his cousin. Maybe he should have been more open to his cousin. 4 years already. But no, we got these messed up storylines. They did the one where it was Rain, which was stupid. Rain's character was cool, but they ruined the character. They did the season where they introduced Mon-El. Mon-El was great. I'm very happy for Melissa and Chris that they got married. They have a great marriage. He got lucky as hell. She's gorgeous, but the way they wrote that storyline made absolutely no sense. It was weird. There was little to no science behind anything. They didn't understand what the Daxamites can truly do, and this and this and this. They didn't understand anything what the hell was going on, and it pissed me off. Again, the first season, the second season, the third season should have been easy peasy. It's just her character growing each season to the fact where she can actually be more happy with her powers. And the fact is that she really honestly doesn't need her cousin. She can go off on her own and be perfectly fine. But it's her cousin now going, oh wow, I missed all of this. I could have been there for her. You could have this long speech with Clark wondering why didn't he do that? Why did he? What was going on with him? Why did he do that? And you had Lois say, "Well, did you listen to your dad?" He goes, "Well, I kind of listened to my dad." He goes, "Well, what did your dad say?" "Well, my dad says that I could have done this and this and this." Well, it sounds like your dad was actually right. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. You kept your hands off when you should have basically been hands on. That's your cousin. You could have helped her. The points where you knew you could have helped, you should have helped, but you felt that she has it under wraps and left it alone, and that's what not in a way destroyed their family unity, but it actually changed it a little bit. So by the time he gets his powers back by the end of the season, because of Lex gives him back his powers. He goes back and starts his relationship with Supergirl. Tries to bring back familial. It's all about family. Because you introduce to Lex, you get introduced to Lena Luthor, his little sister. And you could have had that whole season, all about the relationship between Lex and Clark, Lex and Superman, and Lena and Supergirl. That they're eventually going to become vengeful enemies towards each other. And Lena is indifferent for it, but Supergirl's like, I don't want that relationship. I think she's really cool. And also someone she could talk science with, because Lena is actually very, very intelligent. You're getting more of the sciencey stuff. Most of this other stuff, and then on top of that, by let's say season 4, you don't have to do that. Maybe season 3 you do that. By season 4, guess what? She could be going off world, visiting other planets. Comes back to Earth, talks about her time out there, and then she goes, hey, you know what? Hold on a second. And she flies off, and she goes off into space. She goes, I'll be back in a couple of days. She goes to freaking Star Labs, gets a suit, flies off into space, and basically absorbs so much of the yellow sun, she flies off and tries to help another planet. And you get a story about her on another planet, a little a mini arc, a 2-episode mini arc of her on another planet trying to stop insurgencies. Which makes sense. I mean, that's basically sometimes her character. But like I said, I really liked her as Supergirl. Again, I mean, she's gorgeous. Melissa Benoist is gorgeous. She's very beautiful. She has that smile. She has that demeanor. She has that look that is Supergirl. Just like in some ways, so does Gal Gadot. She has the look of Wonder Woman in certain ways. But what they did wrong is that they, in the first season of the episode, which is your first introduction to this character, your first look at this character, they made her feel like she was 12 years old, and she acted like she was 12 years old. She didn't act like a 20-year-old woman in a metropolitan area, in a metropolitan city, working in a business field, in a newspaper business field. In a magazine field. I'm sorry, in a magazine world. Like, this is not, in a way, fun. It's high. It's high intensity, and they screw that up. I'm not saying she has to be cruel, mean, or a B or a C. Definitely, no. She doesn't have to be like that. She could just be quiet. She's just to herself. She just does her job, goes in, does her job, goes home. She aspires for nothing until Cat Grant goes, you know what? I read your piece, and I've read all your pieces, and they're really, really good. Have you ever thought of being more than this? And it gets her to really think about that. But then it's also in a way she's in her cousin's shadow. She's being an investigative reporter. Maybe she just wants to be a reporter. Just give her the information, she does, and she writes it out and writes out what she needs to do and go home. I never would have made her a secretary. I'd have made her she's part of the editing. She's part of the editors. She takes the story and goes, oh, okay. She re-edits everything, make it look nice and neat, and gives it back and gives it to the editors to put into the She's a proofwriter basically. She's a proofreader and a writer. She proofreads everything, puts it into context, and gets it to the editors so they get to get it into the magazine or on the shelves. That's all she does. And it's a quiet field. She just goes, I'm good with that. He goes, well, why don't you? The way you wrote this, it sounds nothing like the way the person is. That's very interesting. Maybe you should think about being a reporter yourself. She goes, I don't kind of want to do that, something like that. She goes, why not? And she goes, something that it's just something that doesn't appeal to me, and she doesn't want to do something like that. She rather just do her job and go home. And she goes, oh, okay. Until her boss, Cat Grant, says, hey, I need somebody on this. Danvers, you're on it. Go. And she goes, what? She goes, Danvers, either you go out there or you're fired. She goes out there and she gets the information, does what she has to do, gets the information, gets the the evidence she needs, writes a damn good piece, gives it to Cat Grant, and she goes, this is phenomenal. Okay, you're a reporter. I'm making you a reporter. You got a problem with that? She goes, no. Okay, I'll do it. And that's it. That's what starts her on doing it. She really honestly doesn't want to do it. But she takes it. That's how I would done this character. She likes to keep herself quiet because that's the way she wants it. But over time, she's more assertive. She's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do this. And you get that character she was before the destruction of Krypton. You get that growth. And that's all I ever asked. All right, I'm going to leave this up. Like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit the bell. And let me know what you guys think. If you guys believe that this is kind of corny, this is kind of stupid, hey, leave it down below. I will definitely read that, and I will definitely let you know what I think too. If you guys want me to do other small little what ifs, I will do those as soon as I can. This weekend, myself and Hawk are not gonna be able to do the podcast. I will do my own podcast, telling you guys what I think of some of the news that's been coming out. Hawk is gonna be is very, very busy. I have my boss's boss, which is my boss. Yeah, my boss. My boss is coming down to my job, and she's gonna it's a she. She's gonna talk to me and see what's going on. As I told you, my boss is hurt right now. He's on leave of absence. I'm in charge of everything, hence why it's been very, very hectic around here. This is one of the times I'm actually so relaxed. I got a lot of stuff done that I can actually do this. So I'm very sorry. I can't do this all the time, not until until everything gets back to the way it's supposed to be, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. But if not, I hope you guys understand. So like I said, leave a comment down below about any other what ifs. I'm gonna think about the one about Martian Manhunter. I still think that Steven Spielberg would be perfect for Martian Manhunter. He'd be perfect. He could do this guy across the ages, and he's been on Earth for over hundreds of years. It could be a really great thing. Him seeing the prejudice of the civil rights movement for blacks, the Holocaust, all this other stuff, because it's representation of what happened on his world, and he's seeing it on this world, and he's like, wow. So I think that Steven Spielberg can really capture that and give us that wonder and care of an alien being on the planet Earth, and the heroism it is to be John's, and how cool of a character he really is. But like I said, hit the bell. Let me know what you guys think. I will get that podcast out. If I don't, then I'm very sorry. It's again, today is one of the days I can get this video out, and I've been wanting to do this. I heard that the series has been canceled this season. That COVID really struck, and I think they looked at how the ratings have been plummeting, and they said, you know what, let's just wrap it up. Let's give it a great send off, and I'm hoping that it does have a great send off. I'm not gonna watch it, only due to the fact is I think that in my personal opinion, I think they're gonna SJW it up the wazoo. They're going to give a lot of platitudes, and they're probably going to shove a lot of, we could have kept doing this only if people really, really weren't really being a-holes about it and stuff like that. Like they're trying to shove it in our faces that you didn't like it because you don't like SJW stuff, and it's just like, okay. And again, I feel sorry for Melissa Benoist. I think she really wanted to be this character, and I think that And I truly not think, I believe she emanated a lot of Supergirl when she was in the suit and she wanted to do this character. But I think she really misunderstands the character. The character is not an SJW character. She's not. This is a hometown girl that's a city girl from Krypton's perspective, that was raised on a farm and learned how to become a hero through her cousin's actions, and became a hero in her own right. And she's not an SJW character. She doesn't deal with SJW stuff. She doesn't deal with people saying, oh, you can't do it because you're a girl. No, she doesn't deal with stuff like that. She's Supergirl. She doesn't give two craps. She has the power of a planet within her hands. She could basically bench press a planet if she wants to. She's extremely powerful. She doesn't care about what you think about her being a girl. She just cares about the fact is that she's using her powers the way she thinks she believes that it needs to be done. And she's doing it because it's the right thing to do, which is the same as how Kal-El treats his powers. So I think that, in my personal opinion, they really screwed this character up from the very beginning, and it hobbled ever since, and they just kept adding all these quote unquote cool features that really destroyed it. But I'm not gonna watch any more of the Arrowverse stuff. I'm done. Black Lightning had me, but because of the COVID, I'm at the point where I don't care anymore now. There's a lot of things. Hawk can say whatever he wants, but me, I actually enjoyed some of the Arrowverse stuff, but it just got so SJW to just really who the hell cares. But here's the thing: if you guys loved it, if you guys want to watch that last season, great. I want you guys to tell me how it ends. Let me know on this video how it ends, and we can be able to talk about it. All right, you guys have a great one, and I'm very hopeful that you guys still stick with me on this. We're almost at 100 subscribers. I want to reach more, but I do wish that you guys can jump over to the Elites, watch our podcast, and see how you guys love it. And we're gonna also try to have Josh on, and I'm reaching out to another folk to see if this individual wants to come on, but I think he is extremely busy, so it may not happen. But I'll see how Hawk wants to handle it. See if we get some more guest stars. That'd be great. But again, thank you for joining me. You guys have a great one. Bye.